Tobias Harris. It's been like Tobias Harris trade watch for the last 3 years in the show. And it seems like that could be happening soon, really. So NBA insider Matt Moore said that Tobias will be traded by the end of the summer. And quote, reading tea leaves, I'd put Kings at the top of the list as to where he lands, and not just because of pre-existing talks and the McNair-Morey connection, end quote. So my question to you guys, with the 125% trade rule ending on July 1st, turning into 110%, what is the likelihood of Tobias being traded by July 1st? And would you guys like a trade with the Sacramento Kings? Some names are being thrown around. Kevin Huerter and Richaun Holmes, another former Sixer, and maybe Davion Mitchell. Some Sixer fans are dreaming of the idea of getting Keegan Murray and or Harrison Barnes, but Harrison Barnes would make a lot of sense with the Sixers. But what are you guys' thoughts on this latest report with Tobias potentially being gone sooner rather than later?
Sooner would not surprise me. I think it'll be a lot of movement coming up with free agency coming up and the draft. I think the picks are starting to be very valued more because of the changing in the contract with collective bargaining. So I think picks are starting to be sort of the extra luggage that's going in all these moves. So when people want to make moves or do favors, they being able to throw in picks. So it wouldn't surprise me that, if he gets moved and he grabs some picks and you grab some different things. I would say later in the summer, I would probably say the percentage would be higher than the draft because he's already under contract. And I think you may see sort of some teams kind of play out, their plans kind of play out and see where they strike out, where they get some misses, and then come back to a situation where Tobias gets moved. So I think you have a lot of teams that are trying to execute other things that, may not work out. And then all of a sudden a plan for, to move into Tobias may then develop. After a summer league and where people are all together and they start talking, I could see it happening then more so than draft. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if it happened by the end of the month for the draft. But I would, if I was a choosing guy, I would choose after summer league and later in summer.
Do you think we would get the most for him the later it gets or the closer it gets to the trade deadline? Because, teams now, everyone thinks they have a shot next year for the most part, right? Let's see.
Yeah, I think you could get more, but you also would have to start over with a lot of guys at the trade deadline.
Mid-season, yeah.
That's the downfall of it.
Yeah.
So I think, you hold on to it because some teams, you'll always have some teams that come All-Star, they're like, man, this isn't working. We got to make a move.
Yep. Or have a season but
you also might not have that. You may have that with teams that have guys that you don't want. Or you don't need.
True.
Or they may have, or their players may be the same position as your players. It's hard to know that whether you're going to have guys that you can make a move that are available that will be able to plug and play in the Tobias position. So I think you got to move on it when you feel like you have a deal that you're happy with. Now, if you're not happy with it, then you hold on to it. But if you aren't, if you have one, you move it. You move on. Especially if you're from all this talk, I'm assuming that no matter what, they aren't bringing Tobias back. So you got to find a way to move forward, in my opinion.
I know we've heard that for so long, though. I
know, but it's different now because you're actually at the point where the talk has been so consistent that I was confused on when he had 1 year left.
Yeah, I know. And with the 1 year left, and you add that to the CBA agreement, he's actually like a plus asset again. Like you go to Twitter, you look at all the comments, people dog. I'm like, oh, no one's going to get that contract. That contract's a plus now. You get to get out of it. Look at what happened with Beal. They had to almost give him away because they don't want that future money. $39 million coming off your books. That sounds pretty good to a team that's paying $60 million in luxury tax. You know, I mean, I think
That's
it's
what I'm
very.
saying. Like, how do you address that? Do you address that with 2 smaller contracts, or do you go after 1 bigger contract?
So that's with the July 1st 125 rule. So by July 1st, we can trade him and bring back, I think I read 49 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, be 110, we could trade him to bring back 43. I mean, it might not seem like a huge deal, but depending on, like they said, Morey's got like 10 moves up his sleeve. Depending on what he's thinking about, that could be a big difference, right? And that's $6 million.
I mean, it could be a big difference. Yeah. But the team has to be willing to do it. So that's what I'm saying. Depends on who it is. Now, you just can't do it just to do it. It depends on who it is.
I know. I agree. I totally agree with that.
So, I mean, the situation is are you going to get a trade offer that will not be available after July 1? You know what I'm saying? Like, they say, okay, you have this deal right here. We would offer you this deal after July, but we can't. That's where you may see the deal done, because that particular deal maybe can't be offered. It's not that the team pulled it. It's just we can't make it happen because of the new rules. So you may have to jump on it before that kick in. So that's why it's been all of this talk about so many moves by the trade deadline, by the draft.
Or July 1st.
The draft and free agency. That's why everybody, you see all these moves, and that's why you see Denver make moves during the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you see all these, uncharacteristic moves, because it is deadlines.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I totally agree. I don't want to just trade him just to trade him. I think that's stupid. And I think we would have done that by now if we were just like dying for a move with him. I like the potential of a Kings deal. I would love Barnes, but I read that we'd be hard capped if we traded for him because we'd have to.
I just don't think the Kings are going to move Barnes. I just don't think that what they did last year that they're going to move Harrison. I just don't think they'll move him after 1 year.
Yeah,
and Murray is sort of a younger, almost like Harrison Barnes, but it's some time for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, having Harrison there, I think, allowed them to kind of like, okay, Murray, you're still a rookie. We can pull you back a little bit because you had a guy like Harrison there. Yeah. You can do that. You had to put so much on him.
Yeah. I mean, I like Herter, Davion, Holmes. It goes with a lot of the other deals I'm reading with him. It's like people are just trying to find ways to find teams that make money work. And then when you look at it after you do that, you're like, is this, why are we doing this again? Like, I forgot. I even forgot at this point where people are just so obsessed with trading him at this point. They forget why they're thinking about doing a deal, right? Like Atlanta, 2 of Collins, Hunter, or Bogdan. Indiana, TJ McConnell, Jabari Smith, and Hield, which a lot of people do like. Someone brought up Levine again. Clippers for like Gordon, Powell, and Rocco. I saw someone bring up Porzingis recently.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we just we can talk about it all along, but we're at such a disadvantage because we don't know the offers. Like, we know what may fit, but we don't know to really criticize Morey and his folks on the decision because we really don't know.
Yeah.
But another one was the other Bogdanovich, the Detroit one. That was another interesting one because he's making like 20.
Yeah,
so it'd be a lot.
Detroit won't send him to Philly. They Philly will take him, but they're not sending him to Philly.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a lot of teams that'll give up a lot more to get him. If you're looking from a Detroit standpoint, them moving for Tobias won't help them the way going to get some players and picks will.
Mm-hmm.
Because of where they are. I mean, they signed Monty to that long deal. That's a team that trying to build it up to me from me making that commitment. This is the team that's trying to build it up, not, go in free agency. I don't think Detroit's going to get free agents like that.
If Draymond leaves Golden State, I'd put Golden State back in that because they have a massive luxury tax. Even without Draymond, they still have to re-sign Clay. and they have kind of a logjam in certain positions. That's another team I wouldn't be surprised if they jump into that. They can clear $40 million off their cap with him. And maybe they think, hey, do what Wiggins did with us. We take on his huge number. He comes to us. He has a good time playing with us, and maybe he signs for a little less. Maybe Wiggins signed his last deal was I think in the high 30s, 40s, and then he ended up signing like a 25 per year deal with Golden State because he liked it so much and they won. So you never know. That's another interesting one.
Yeah, we'll see.
Is that you trying to manufacture a way to get Andrew Wiggins because you've been talking about that for months?
I think Wiggins would be a great fit with us. I'm not going to lie. I do think that, but Gary Payton, Wiggins, a lot of people want to buy low on Poole. I saw one with Zion. What would you think about a Zion one, Eric?
Zion where?
In Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'll take Zion any day.
Really?
Yes. Any day.
That's a Morey move too. He likes buying low on guys that kind of teams are kind of up and down on.
Yeah.
Do you think Porzingis would be a good fit? Yeah.
He gives you those. He gives you those numbers, but I don't know how much it really impacts winning.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of size, though. I would like to try it.
It's kind of like it's a much more consistent, better defensive Christian Wood in a way. Really tall, can play some back. Yeah,
I wouldn't mind trying it. I just don't. It's just that I think the difference with Porzingis and Christian Wood is they could probably give you the same thing, but the expectations for Porzingis is so much higher.
Way higher. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's giving you look at his stats, and you look at what he's averaged when he's been the Wizards, you're just like,
all right, yeah.
Yeah. Because it's how much is impacted winning. But I think if he gets on the team and they take off, you can be like, oh. But his expectations when he first came in the league and playing in New York City, sometimes, we're all probably guilty of not giving him the benefit of the doubt of what he's done because, quote unquote, he hasn't met those expectations. But maybe those expectations were too high to start.
He's 27 too. He's young. He's still got a lot of legs.
Yeah, I feel like he's been in the league forever.
I know. He's kind of like Wood, right? Another guy like Wood too, play next to Embiid because he's got a good shot. He can shoot lights out, and he's actually a decent low man defender. If Embiid's out, you can pop him over at 5 for a little bit too. Yeah. So
I don't know.
I've seen a lot of people question, some Sixers fans question how Zion would even fit in Philadelphia with our team currently constructed.
I don't know. I'll figure it out later. Get him and figure it out.
Yeah, that's also what Morey would say too. I don't think he'd care. I think he would just do it because
get him and figure it out.
Great buy low opportunity. Your transition offense will be on the run offense will be money. Imagine Maxey and Zion running fast breaks.
Yeah, get him and figure it out, man.
You got that. You got a pick and roll. You got another guy that you could do a pick and roll set with Harden. You run pick and rolls with Embiid. You run pick and rolls with Zion. Hey, you run pick and rolls with Zion and Embiid.
That was the thing about it is Zion got to the point where people start putting their 5s on them. You can't do that with Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, I think people are anyone sour. Well, it's because of the durability. So you have 2 guys who
and that's very understandable.
Might not be healthy come playoff time. 2 guys.
Understandable.
The other one would be not a.
I would have to find out if he's available.
Yeah. Speaking of young, what's he like 23 still? That guy hasn't I feel like he's been in the league for like 4 years and hasn't gone up in age yet.
Yeah. Well, he kind of has the whole Embiid thing where he hasn't really played a lot, so he's got not really much wear and tear on the.
A lot of tread. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I think that's. I was gonna say we just set us up for the future when the post Embiid days you got Maxey and Zion.
That's also true. Yeah, you're hedging on that one. You're hedging now. You have now and later, and the upside is just so high.
Yeah,
it's so high. And no, I don't think anyone would blame you in 2 years. Let's say you got injured again. I don't think anyone would blame you for that. You're going for championships. You're shooting for the moon. Then do it. Then you're certainly not doing that with Buddy Hield and T.J. McConnell. So like people that want to do those kind of deals, it's like Davion Mitchell and Kevin Huerter, fine players, but what are we doing? What are we doing here?
Yeah. No, it would be fun. That'd be splash of the summer, man, if that were to happen.